Hello baby gangsters, this is Calvin, also known as Wormer, and this is not my first ever playthrough of Genshin. This is Thelxie's Fantastic Adventures. This was uploaded by Potato Shara, and I thank you so much for uploading these videos because it makes me happy that I get to experience these events, not in the way you guys did, but I guess like still get to experience them and enjoy them in some way. These are usually very good. Like the events in Genshin are fantastic. Sometimes it's like so frustrating. You're like, oh man, I wish you could replay them. But that's just the way Genshin does things. They're limited events and there's nothing we can do about it. But at least we get to go back and watch these events as well. Freminet is a character I wanted to have like a hangout event, but of course he doesn't. The only hangout event we have left is Lynette, which is still exciting. I can't wait to actually do a hangout event with Lynette. So we have like an event here that has Freminet very prominent in it. The events don't feel like hangout events sometimes. Instead, they feel like mini story quests for characters in some occasions. And sometimes they feel like reunions and all this stuff. They're very, very fun. So let's get into this. Also, big thank you to patron Deathtrap for making the spreadsheet for all the events. If you don't know what this is, he made a spreadsheet for me that has every event that I can react to. It has all the requirements to do that event, including story quest, world quest, Archon quest, all this stuff. It has the link to them, a spoiler-free image, and it has like the importance of them. It says important on top of it, like if it's like very related to the story, or it has like less, not, it doesn't even say less important, but it has like, you know, just not important in big writing. If it's like one of those stories that's more just for fun, if you know. So like say if the Windbloom event, for example, or something like that, it has like important in big text with the link and all the requirements you have to do, all the story quests you have to do, will have like Calais, or like the Archon Quest 5 in Sumeru, all this stuff. It has like all those requirements. It's amazing. It means I get to play this game spoiler free, and it's so fantastic. Thank you, Deathtrap.
That can't be right. Oh, but what if they're real after all? No, that can't be. But what if there's a chance?
So we're starting with a Fontaine Angler.
Greetings, miss. Is there something that's bothering you?
And we have Lumine here today, which I always talk about how, like, you know, sometimes at events we'll have Lumine, sometimes we'll have Ether. And I think that it's nice to sometimes see Lumine in the kind of events too, because we never play as her, you know?
No, it's nothing. I'm Della Roche, the representative
Della
of the
Roche.
Fontaine Fishing Association. How can I help you?
We received your commission request.
Oh, so you're adventurers. Oh, finally. Someone has heard my prayers.
Great voice acting.
Paimon could tell you were really bothered by something. Don't worry, you've got two super experienced adventurers right here.
Heck yeah,
We'll
Paimon.
take care of anything and everything for you as long as you pay us a little bit of Mora.
Paimon's always on the Mora.
You
She
are
has to be, you know?
exactly
She has
the
to be.
helpers I need.
She gets us paid.
See, the problem is that the fish around a fishing spot at Arrhenius have just all up and vanished
What?
recently. They disappeared too quickly for it to have been the work of human anglers. As the representative of the Fishing Association, I had planned to go and investigate the area right away.
Yeah, but like all the fish disappearing like is crazy.
Right, but unfortunately, as the representative of the Fishing Association, there are a few other errands that I absolutely have to run.
Right, okay.
So you'd like us to investigate the spot for you?
Exactly, you're right on the Mora. So I thought I could delegate this work to you. Are you two some kind of prophets, knowing exactly what I was going to say like that? Or maybe like the oracles you read about in fairy tales.
We already told you we're adventurers. We're just used to this
We're
type of stuff.
very
We're really used
experienced
to
in
this.
kind of thing,
Yeah.
that's all.
We understand how this goes.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'll get a good night's sleep knowing the two of you are on the case.
It's already so interesting though.
Don't we just need to investigate the missing fish? It really doesn't sound too difficult.
No, you mustn't let your guard down. As the representative of the Fishing Association, I have good reason to believe
Wait.
that the fish have gone missing due to an encounter with the water imps.
The water imps.
Yes, you're both Outlanders, right? Our local fairy tales often speak of a terrifying underwater creature called Thelxie.
I thought Thelxie was going to be like a
The
person.
story our parents would tell us was always the same. If we went to the water alone, then we'd be snatched away and eaten by a water imp called
And
Thelxie.
but have people seen them?
Eating water imp? Did they tell you what it looked like?
My father would always describe it as a beautiful, multicolored snake woman.
Oh.
While my mother said it had a handsome face.
Oh.
It's really strange, though, because you'd also hear other people describe it as just a chubby penguin with a deceptive appearance.
That's super interesting that there's like a different like idea of what people see this because that's what happens with stories over time, right? Like, or maybe like it's shape-shifting. Who knows? I didn't even know there was going to be like a water imp thing here.
Regarding its appearance, everyone agrees that it's really dangerous. It lives in an underwater cave surrounded by pallid bones and uses its sensitive nose to track down lonely children.
Terrifying.
And once it finds a child, it uses its alluring singing voice to lure them into the water before swallowing them all. Pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Yes.
Sounds kind of scary. But isn't that pretty normal for a fairy
Maybe
tale?
a Genshin fairy tale.
After all, those kinds of stories are usually made up to help keep children away from danger.
That's actually true though as well, isn't it? Because like when you think about it, like a lot of fairy tales are like, don't trust, the stranger. Don't, go into it. A lot of them are don't go to a stranger's house. And I'm thinking about it. Like fairy tales are usually like, stories you tell kids, and they have like a moral to the story as well.
But what if the fairy tale was inspired by a real life tale? Just like how a water vein always has a source.
Do you have any concrete evidence?
Well, I wouldn't call it evidence per se, but I've heard some rumors lately. They say that someone recently saw a child walk into the water as if he was possessed by something. Doesn't that sound just like he was responding to the call of a water imp?
So you mean someone really got eaten by a water imp?
We need to find out what's happening here.
It's all hearsay, so it's hard to confirm. But still, they all say this happened on Irenaeus. That's no laughing matter if you ask me.
Yeah.
Both the Opera House and the Fountain of Lucine were built there, and the sources of many water veins can be traced to the island as well. Combine that with the mysterious mist, the huge tree with expansive underground roots, and the rumor that the fishheps on the island can understand human language.
I don't need to hear. I don't need to hear the fishheps can understand human language. What's happening here?
In mystery could harbor a terrifying water imp as well?
Yes, but like.
Feel like you're pulling our leg. You're just piling on the rumors.
It's crazy. All the stuff she said is crazy.
Still, if someone's really been hurt,
yes,
then we can't just ignore the situation, right, Traveler?
I love the name, actually. I love the name.
Marvelous. Then I'll just mark the stretch of water on your map. Don't forget that no matter what, safety always comes first.
Like, again, I agree with the Traveler and Paimon. It's like, even though this stuff is like, sounds absolutely crazy, I think it's like, makes 100% sense to just check it out if someone is hurt, right?
Yes, look pretty fresh.
Some footprints.
Did the water imp get someone again? Let's look around and see if we can find anything else.
All those machines in the background.
Did you hear something just now?
Oh, we're scaring ourselves though. Like that sounded just like a little blob. Gurgle. Oh, it's a gurgle come from the water. The noises grow louder and louder until something emerges with a loud splash. What is that? Ah! Oh my God! There he is. What do you mean? What is that?
Paimon? Traveler?
Oh, the most adorable in the world.
I'm sorry. I forgot I was still wearing
It's
this.
okay. Freminet removes his diving helmet. Oh my God! Look at him.
Freminet!
That's our boy. That's our boy.
Paimon, are you okay?
Paimon nearly mistook you for a water imp. Thank goodness it was just you wearing your helmet.
Yeah, it's a nice helmet though. It's a really nice helmet.
A water imp?
We're investigating the water imp called Thelxie.
Thelxie, you say?
Look at my boy.
How surprising.
That is my boy.
Huh? You know that name too? Or do you know someone else is trying to investigate the water imp?
No, I think our situations are probably unrelated.
Okay. Can you tell us what's going on with you?
Sure, if that's in order.
An order?
I know the name because of one of my employers. She noticed the clockwork penguins I brought to the workshop and contacted me through the shop's owner.
All right.
She has commissioned me to make a special toy.
That's awesome.
Following her request, I've named the toy Thelxie.
Oh, that's a weird coincidence.
But isn't it a little creepy to name a toy after a water imp? Wait, hold on. Freminet, you never take commissions from other people.
Oh, that's something we're learning about him then. He never just takes commissions?
But, she made a special request, but out of respect for her privacy, I can't really talk about it.
I love getting to hear him talk as much as this,
right,
you know?
She'll be coming over to check on my progress shortly, and I'll just tell her that you're two of my trustworthy companions. Hearing that, she might be willing to share some information.
We are trustworthy
and you'll be
companions as
able to
well.
continue with your
We
investigation.
are.
Huh. Even though you seem a little cold and reserved sometimes, you're still really considerate. Our target isn't necessarily the water imp, though. We're primarily here to investigate the disappearance of the fish.
No, as I said it there, like, I'm so happy to get to hear Freminet, like, talking, right? Like, because again, like, we've heard him talking before and he has had conversations, but he is very shy, and it's very clear that, like, more and more he's gotten, like, as he's gotten closer to us, and, like, we've had more conversations, that time in the, and I'm not even sure, this could have been before that or after, I'm not quite sure how that works. But it's very clear we've at least gotten closer and more comfortable around Freminet, so they're speaking to us a lot more in a more of a, like being themselves, just being themselves around us, and I really, really like that. Freminet is a very, very soft character, really soft, and I will literally hurt the whole world if he gets hurt, ever.
The fish?
Freminet nods slightly, seems to have lost entirely to tell him about the commission for the Fishing Association.
I think I may have
Awesome.
connected the
Lovely.
dots.
Lovely.
These past few weeks, I've been taking Thelxie for underwater testing every day. The pressure testing makes a lot of noise.
Oh.
So, all that about the disappearing fish, well, it was probably because
So
of
because of the
me.
noise they left, and then the imp would have looked like Thelxie.
That actually makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Wait, so could that mean the child we heard about who walked into the water was also...
Just Freminet prepared for another day of work.
Yes, I think that's
Oh
quite
my
likely as well.
So
Wait, and they said he was like in a trance. That does sound like Freminet. Our boy. He just walking into the water. He just walking into the water.
Freminet! Paimon spent all this time imagining what a water imp from the fairy tales might look like, and it all turns out to be just a hoax.
We should be happy.
I'm sorry. It sounds like
No,
I've
no, no,
created
no.
a lot of trouble
Don't
for
worry.
everyone else as well. I'll try to finish this commission as soon as possible. Once I'm done, the fish should
Do
come
not
back.
worry whatsoever. You do whatever you want.
Thank you.
Look at the thank you. Little
Actually,
shakiness in his
You still have
voice.
left, Freminet. Maybe we could lend you a hand.
Yes.
Thanks for offering. But I can't trouble you any more than I already have.
Hey, it's no trouble at all. Didn't you just call us your
Exactly.
trustworthy companions?
Exactly, Paimon.
Companions are all about helping each other,
Yeah.
you know?
But don't you need to report back to your commissioner?
Sometimes for every day we do that in like 10 days.
That's not how it works. See, Paimon's got these commissioner types all figured out, even though we were just tasked with finding out why the fish had gone missing. If we tell them now that it was all just a misunderstanding, you can bet they'd just immediately hand us another commission to help them get the fish back.
Resident experiences thing, that's all.
Exactly! So if we can help you finish up your work and get the fish back, that would save us an extra...
That's so meta as well. Talk about how these quests usually work.
Is that what you'd like to do as
The
well?
little smile on his face, of course.
All right, I'll trust your judgment. Please follow me. I've made a makeshift camp over there.
And it's not that Freminet doesn't want to be social with people, by the way. We saw with the conversation with Charlotte. He's like, he will make an effort if he can. It's just that, like, it's really difficult, I feel like, for him socially to make the effort first. Oh, that's so cool. So if you talk to him first, usually it can work out really well, or make a conversation with him.
It's also penguin-shaped, just like Pear.
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with
Oh my god,
Pear.
tell me we can go to Penguin Town. Where's Penguin Town?
It's not really anywhere famous or important. Don't worry about it.
Penguin Town sounds so important.
Thelxie,
Are you kidding
nice
me?
to meet you. Do you know how to say hello?
That's so awesome, Freminet. You were able to make this so can Thelxie talk?
I wanted to install a language output module, but due to time constraints, I had to
He's
give
so
up
smart.
on the idea.
He's so smart.
As it stands, Thelxie can only output messages that were pre-written into its motherboard. I haven't given him the ability to convert those messages into discernible words, so he can't really talk
This is
to
already
us
an
just
amazing
yet.
invention and an amazing toy.
No need to get so technical. So basically, you want us to help you complete and install this
Awesome.
language module, right?
No,
Oh.
there's no need. That wasn't one of my employer's requests.
Okay.
It was just something I wanted to try. I have 2 other things I'd like your help with. The first is to do some integration testing on Thelxie's motherboard, to make sure he will be able
Look
to
at this
function
invention.
properly in most
It's so cool. I would love one of
situations.
these. Look at these.
That doesn't sound too hard. And what's the other thing?
The other shouldn't take too long either. You'll need to find Thelxie some colorful shells and coral, so I can craft a weapon.
A weapon?
for him.
Okay, I didn't know it was going to be a fighting.
Weapon?
Yeah,
Will Thelxie have to fight?
my question exactly.
Mm-hmm. Thelxie will need to be able to charge forward with a weapon in hand, like that brave prince of legend. It's a part of my employer's request.
Very cool.
What an imaginative employer! Naming Thelxie after a water imp, but wanting him to look like a prince?
So cool.
Well, regardless of his role or species, Thelxie's purpose is the same. Just like Pear, he has come to this world to serve as somebody's companion.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
Whoa, Thelxie just said something again! Could he understand what we were just talking about?
He can react to certain key words, but unfortunately, due to the lack of a translation module, he still can't quite communicate with us.
You're doing, like, again, I know, like, it's like, so, like, to me, it's just so interesting because we haven't, and I said it before, we haven't had many conversations with Freminet that lasted more than a couple of, like, without Linny and Lynette being there. Linny and Lynette have, like, you know, kind of bridged in the gaps as well. So it's nice to see that, like, he's not just as someone who, like, you know, can't, and again, like I said, it's probably a situation where it is, like, if you make the effort, he will, like, be able to make more of an effort back. But if you kind of, like, just, like, brush him off or whatever, he's probably not going to make the effort as well, you know? And you saw how happy he was when he saw the idea of us just being like, yeah, we'll go on a quest with you. And he's like, really? This is what you want? There was, like, a little smile on his face. It's a really, really sweet character
But anyway,
writing
the
so
most
far.
important thing right now is for us to get to work. Maybe let's start by doing some testing on the motherboard. That sounds like something we can do here in the camp.
Sounds good. The motherboard is on my workbench, so please follow
He's got a
me.
workbench. He's working hard. I love her willingness to help all the time, though. It's actually so fun. I talked about Freminet's design a million times
here
before
we
as
go.
well. It reminds me of a Xenoblade character. I
have
love
this
it.
testing manual, so feel free to reference it if you get stuck. Want to give it a try? It's okay if you don't succeed immediately. I've got a lot of backup boards just in case.
Oh, was this like a mini game, maybe?
Okay. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll be able to
Ah,
figure
jeez,
it
Freminate,
out.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're the smart one here.
You're doing well. Just as I expected.
We've taken on a lot of similar tasks before, you know.
Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's just as I mentioned earlier. We're after colorful
For the weapon.
shells and coral.
This is so pretty, isn't it? Fontaine's
Oh,
so gorgeous.
Speaking of which, you're both already pretty used to Fontaine's underwater environment.
We've done a lot of
right?
quests there now, haven't we? We have done a lot of quests, so more or less I say was what I would say, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Just let me know if you ever feel uncomfortable. I'll make sure to stay right by your side.
Freminet! He's a sweetheart. But we knew he was a sweetheart, but still. Very, very, very nice, like, that he, is like a sweet... I guess what I'm saying is, like, we knew he was a sweetheart just because of how, like, you know, nice he was to us and how, like, you know, even in the Fortress of Meripede, he was, like, very, very, you know, grateful, you know, very happy to talk to us, said, like, he sees us as part of the family, the House of the Hearth as well, which is also very nice to see as well. But I think, like, just in these longer conversations, you're seeing that, again, like I said, he's not just, like, this, like... The way I can describe it is that if you've ever had someone in life who people will think is like the rudest person, not that I thought he was rude, but some people might be like, that person just never talks to us. Like, why didn't they never come over and chat? Like, what's happening? Like, and then they find out, like, you know, into the 2 years into, like, you know, they're working in their office, and they're like, wait a second, I just had like a full on conversation with Jerry. It's like, wait, Jerry? It's like, yeah, all I just did was I went up and asked him if he, like, needed any help on his project, and he said, yeah, and we had a full conversation. It's like, yeah, that's all it takes sometimes. But with Freminet, like, he's not just this person who, like, is not, like, not wanting a social situation at all. We saw with Charlotte, like, he was so willing to talk to Charlotte. I'm going to be talking this forever. Like, I just such a cool thing hearing him talk this much. I know it sounds so weird to say, but, like, because we just had, like, little tidbits here or there. Especially when you have like someone who's so like stern as Lynette in your circle and so outgoing as Linny in your circle. Sometimes there's probably like not a need to explain things or to talk at great lengths when you have people already who are willing to like be stern and are willing to like explain things to the traveler. So obviously you probably don't feel the need to constantly kind of like butt in on the conversation sometimes, even though you would have like some input, which he has had some input when it comes to the water and stuff like this, and diving has been very useful. Yeah, I'm just so excited to see this. Nice song. So excited.
Ah, Freminet, you're back. I thought you might have been out diving.
And this isn't me saying, by the way, is that, well, that like Linny and Lynette hold him back, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like it happens in any social situations. It's like, you know, sometimes like you'll get more out of someone when they're like on their own sometimes than you would than when they're like with their usual hangout partners, right? And that's not a bad thing whatsoever. It's just that like, because again, I don't think there's any holding, because Linny and Lynette love Freminet to death. But it's just a situation, like it just happens. If you have someone in your group who's like the most talkative one, and you don't see it as a rude thing, you're just like, okay, well, yeah, they said what we needed to say in this situation. They're probably talking amongst themselves all the time as well. It's just how it happens.
I'm sorry, Madame d'Estray. I must have kept you waiting. I can report, though, that the construction of Thelxie is going quite smoothly.
There's no rush. I'm your employer, not your supervisor. And
also, Linny would understand Freminet and his limitations socially better than anybody.
They're
and
two of my
yeah,
trustworthy companions. They're here to help me work on
I love being
Thelxie.
called companion ever, you know?
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for someone responsible like you to have some reliable friends.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame d'Estray. Are you Freminet's employer? Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler.
Yeah, I love Paimon as Paimon. Always.
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under a cottage roof.
Okay. Interesting compliment?
Oh, do you really
Okay,
think
compliment. Do I look like a fairy too?
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the tales of water imps. And I wouldn't have had to trouble Freminet here with this commission.
So again, we're talking a lot about
Obsessed
companionship,
with
friendship
the
in this
tales of water
mission, right?
So you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have thought Freminet had explained it to you already.
Well, Freminet told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
Yeah, he's been very good. Very good.
I see. So Monsieur Freminet is even more discreet than I had thought.
Yep.
As you are assisting him with the project, I believe it'll be beneficial for you to learn more about its vision and history. But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you without your permission. So, would you like to listen to my story?
We will, yeah, 100%. I just want to say as well, it makes perfect sense that Freminet is like perfectly capable of doing stuff like that, like, you know, being very secretive when it comes to things like this. And not only that, but just like getting the job done. One of the things that when the Fortress of Mirapede that was so interesting to me is that like in a blink of an eye, you like, you know, a lot of times with quests, like you'll talk to a character before they do something. Okay, I'm going in, I'm doing this stuff. We talked to Linny, and then Freminet was already in the water searching for stuff. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have a moment where he goes like, all right, here I go, or something like that. You know, which is not wrong either. He's very much seems like the type of person that kind of like just gets up and does his job, and does it. You know what I mean? Just gets up and does it.
Sure, you can tell us anything. You've already said nice things about us, so we'll
Very
try our
capable,
best to
is
help
what we'd
you
say.
get through your troubles.
And they've shown that throughout the whole entire
What a lovely
game
little
so far.
fairy. Then let me think of a way to put my situation into words. I'm sure you're already familiar with the tale of the water imps, right? Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water. My child is rather special, however. While most other children are terrified of Thelxie,
Oh wow.
he's infatuated with him.
It's like when a child loves horror movies and wants to meet Michael Myers for their
With a
birthday.
water imp? What a brave soul.
Yeah, you know what, some
Yes.
kids are like that.
He told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind,
Wow.
instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship. As a result, he often goes near the water in secret.
I wonder if the child feels the
So he
same way
wanted to
about
become
themselves, that they
friends
want
with
some
the water
companionship.
So it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of
It's so sweet.
thinking.
It's so sweet.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness
what's that?
syndrome when he was only
Is that an
8
actual
years old.
thing?
It's a type of mental disorder. Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and
Okay.
lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
So the idea of losing interest in mundane activities. So I wonder if that's like when what that means is like, say, like it sounds a lot like, you know, the smaller things in life become like bigger things, right? Or like, but no, in this case, it's not like a thing where like it seems like insurmountable. It's just like, I don't want to do this because it's just such a small thing. Maybe, I don't know.
Is it a very serious disorder?
Interesting to think about.
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the traveler now.
Whoa.
Paimon won't accept that. We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon.
Poor
Paimon
Paimon.
has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the traveler, and she won't settle for a single word less.
Well, we love your
The family
conversation,
doctor
so
has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
all right.
Uncontrollable what now?
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply, he can no longer differentiate between
Wow.
fantasy and reality, and spends all his
I know
time
some
in
illnesses
his
definitely have,
fantasy
and
world.
some disorders definitely have that
And what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
symptom in real life, I
It's
think.
a dream that he often
But I'm not
mentioned to
qualified
me
to
when
talk
he was
about that
younger.
stuff as well as I could.
I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Once upon a time, there was a splendid, magnificent underwater kingdom of water imps on the Salga plain, 500 feet beneath the surface. Countless lovely water imps lived in a house made of rainbow shells and corals, tending the sea animals during the day and singing between fields of golden tidalga during the night. Everyone led a carefree and blessed lives until the day of the Iridescence Parade, the important festival during which the new king would be crowned. Before the festival, all water imps would select the most precious pearl they owned, wrap it in golden branches and leave it in leaves, and offer it to their most beloved prince. And during the day of the parade, the prince would cross the rainbow bridge made from all offered shells and accept the crown from his father amid the applause of his subjects. Finally, the new king would bless everyone with his well wishes. And as for the prince's name, is none other than Thelxie. So he's saying that the imp is the prince in this scene, in this scenario. Okay.
Amazing. Your son came up with all of this? He really crafted a lovely fairy tale world for Thelxie.
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful
Very imaginative, very
dream.
creative, very, very sweet.
But perhaps no beautiful dream can ever last long. You see, the story ended with a twist.
Huh? The day of the Iridescence Parade as expected, but countless monsters also arrived alongside the prince. The monsters were evil and cruel, and they struck fear into all the water imps' hearts. The water imps, adept at singing as they were, could not defend themselves against the monsters. So the kingdom fell. The king was killed, and the water imps were locked behind bars. The rainbow bridge lost its color and crumbled away. So he came up with a sad ending as well. The prince barely was able to escape with the help of the mysterious masked individual, but he had already lost everything and could only spend his days singing mournful songs, the masked individual. So he came up with a sad ending, and just as the prince sang out of loneliness, so could his song only be heard by similarly lonely children. Oh my god. So that's what he's saying, why the Thelxie is singing out.
Like this. Is that kind of fantasizing what caused your son to develop his loneliness syndrome?
It's really sad.
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions to manifest. But in any case, the biggest problem is the patient eventually loses themselves to the fantasy world of their own creation.
Wait.
My poor child can no longer differentiate
So he just
between
believes-
imagination and reality.
Oh.
He's begun to see himself is Thelxie.
So it's not only just this sweet thing, it's this something could be
Perhaps
dangerous.
in his mind, the loneliness he felt became the same as that of a prince who lost everything he ever loved.
Almost like trying to relate
or
and
stood
cope it
for.
in his mind, maybe.
What? So that's what you meant by uncontrollable delusions. Then we have to help him.
Because it
snap
can be
out of it.
dangerous, right? That can be very dangerous.
Alas, most of the time he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor, and we think it is best to try to guide his fantasy.
Wait, like bring him through the story? Like to a
He
conclusion?
once wanted to make a picture book of his imaginary world. But since the disorder progressed too quickly, he never quite got past the first page of the book. If we could
This is
use
so
this
interesting.
book as a breakthrough for his condition. Here, you can take a look.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So Zuria's son also saw Thelxie as a penguin. Oh, he looks so sad.
It's a very sad, but it's a
What we
beautiful
should do
picture.
now is help him complete this picture book. However,
That's
we'll lead
amazing.
the story to a different ending.
That's such a great premise for a story. Are
One
you
where
kidding
the
me?
Water Imp Prince is eventually able to restore his kingdom with the help of his friends. We'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow.
That is
and let him perceive
incredible.
a world full of hope again. That's what I mean by guiding his
The idea
fantasy.
of guiding someone through a
Need to finish the
storybook
picture
and
book.
finishing a
Why does
storybook with a
Freminet
different
need to make
ending.
a Thelxie as well?
That's incredible. That's so
Because
cool.
we need to treat the book's story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really happened. We'll need to go on a journey like Thelxie
Oh my
and help him
God.
regain his crown and country.
No, that's incredible.
But my child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is why I commissioned Freminet here to craft a Thelxie, and then I'll paint the journey with this Thelxie into the picture book.
It's very selfish that I'm sitting here going like, oh man, this is such a cool story. Because it is such a cool premise for a story. But then like, you know, it instantly snaps you back in where you're hearing this mother talk about her child, right? It's like, yes, it's like, oh my God, so cool. Like this premise for a story is one of the coolest they've ever had for an event. And then you go, yeah, but this is an actual mother talking about her son. And while this is going to be like a cool premise for a story, it's also probably going to be very sad for her as well going through this. And probably a very harrowing time.
Ah, like a stand-in for your son. Paimon's starting to get it now. Oh, you really put a lot of thought into this, Zuria.
I mean, she probably cares like crazy,
Paimon
you know,
still has
as a mother.
One question though. Where will we be able to find a Water Imp Kingdom?
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already asked Freminet to research them for me. We'll be able to use one of the ruins as the
Freminet is
kingdom.
so sweet for doing this commission as well. Are you
So
kidding
we'll
me?
just need to act out a performance of, a brave journey through the Kingdom of Water Imps. As long as we chase away the monsters in the ruins, it'll count as chasing away the monsters in the Water Imp Kingdom, right?
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as Zuria said. We need to take this seriously.
Right.
And the only way we can take this seriously is if we choose to believe
We have to
everything
give
that's
in to
happening
his
is real.
delusions that he's having to get him
So
out of those
we'll be
delusions.
playing it straight, or, making it a fully immersive
Yeah, I think I get it. I think I get it.
Oh, neither of those really sound right. Well, either way, we'll still be able to help,
Yeah,
right?
well, we got this. We'll try our best.
It's all right. There's no need to get that serious. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
I believe in my son. We can just see this as him wanting to stay asleep for a bit longer because he's so enamored with his
Probably,
dream.
especially being so lonely in real life.
Zuria.
Yeah.
Keep your spirits up, everyone. If we were to look troubled, my son is sure to become anxious as well. I should be heading back right about now to check on my son.
No, this is a
We
very
temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my
sad
son will
story
have
already.
a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water, and there's also a great view. Feel free to come find me if anything urgent comes
No,
up.
she's fantastic
Understood.
for doing this.
There's also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out, I've made some more progress on Thelxie. I estimate that he should be ready sometime tomorrow.
That's great news. I must thank you all. With that in mind, how about we meet here in 2 days' time to head to the Kingdom of Water Imps?
Sounds good. Sounds good, I guess.
All right, everyone. Let's meet again in another 2 days.
Really, again, a great
Zuria
premise,
sure is a
but
brave
very
and
sad
optimistic
to me.
lady. Freminet, do you think her plan will work work out.
Before we go any further, it's like the idea that, like, you know, she's saying that, like, he wants to stay in this dream for much longer. And that's why it makes it so sad. It's like the idea of, like, he's so lonely and doesn't have any companionship that he truly feels as though, like, this is a better place for him, is in these, like, as they said, delusions, I think you could say. Like, it isn't, that's what they call it, the delusions. And, like, I think, you know, the idea of feeling loneliness till you create an idea in your head that you are, like, you know, in a different place is something that, like, you know, kids have done for years. But of course, this is in Genshin, this is an actual, like, syndrome. Now, I know in real life there are, again, like I said, different, like, things where, like, people do, like, go into their own fantasy world and stuff, I guess, and, like, 100% that's a thing that happens. But again, whenever I comment on this stuff, I want to make sure people know that I'm not commenting on any of the real stuff, because again, I'm not qualified to talk about any of that. But just in this context of this world, it's such a sad premise to me. Just the idea of, like, getting away from lonely. Again, like, it can seem, because it's normal at first, right? It would be normal at first, I bet, in people's eyes in the Genshin world, where it's like, oh, the kid's just playing pretend. And it's like, wait a second, they're playing pretend a little bit too long. And it's like, oh, okay, something's going on here. They're like, they're not even, they're disassociating completely from the world. I will say as well, though, when it comes to Freminet, and the voice tones of Freminet, the voice acting of Freminet, one of the things I appreciate so much about, like, this game and Genshin is how, like, you know, the voice acting to me is, like, is perfect. And it's perfect because, like, it has great direction. It's not a game that, like, that MiHoYo kind of, like, left the game to the wayside and, like, just let, you know, the translation, the voice actors in English speak just do whatever they wanted. You can tell there's direction on who the characters are. You can tell each single, and you can tell that from watching, like, stuff like I think Sino's voice actors Twitch stuff that I've seen been sent into Rome Reacts sometimes. You can tell that they know their characters so well, and that's such an important thing. Like, Freminet playing this character is completely, you know, you're not having any voices sound the same. No characters will be similar. And the voices do such a good job with that, because you can tell, you know, with Freminet's voice right away, there's so much going into his voice. Just like with Venti, the Venti's the complete opposite. Erica plays Venti in a way that, like, it is the most outgoing and cheerful voice you've ever heard, while also it's like there's a little bit of a snark and confidence to it. But, like, Erica also could switch into that sadness at any moment too. They know exactly who Venti is as a person. The person who plays Xiao is really good at, like, even, like, doing these voices. Like with Xiao, it's like talking like this sometimes. He's very, you know, like, standoffish from the world. But then even when he's happy, it's a Xiao happy, where it's like a little bit of this. You know, a little bit of, again, they don't go overboard with it. They don't go over the top. It's like, again, I just have to praise the voice acting. It's so good.
Let's discuss that over by the tent. There were a few things that I didn't bring up because the Madame was here.
Fair enough. Our boy.
What is it, Freminet? What did you want to say?
Probably gonna get some deep information.
If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, no.
I would like the two of you to mentally prepare
Oh,
yourselves.
no.
This is the first time that you've met anyone with the syndrome, right? I know you two are both really strong and will do everything you can to help the child.
Oh, no.
But with the syndrome being the way it is, if things don't... If things don't quite turn out as we wish, I hope you'll be able to accept the outcome.
This is
and
such...
not put too much blame on yourselves.
Freminet,
like a...
why do you bring this up all of a sudden? Didn't we just promise Zuria that we'll be optimistic about everything working out?
Yeah, but I think with Freminet, what he's saying here is that, like, if it doesn't turn out okay, just don't blame yourselves. And this is actually, like, such, like, an emotionally, like, to me, like, an emotionally intelligent way of, like, looking at the world into me. Like, where he's like, he instantly is like, okay, I want to make sure that these guys know it's not their fault, because stuff doesn't turn out very well, right? And while it is, like, maybe, like, a feeling of from Freminet, maybe there's something in Freminet's life where he's like, I don't want you to blame yourself for this, because he's seen people do that before. That could be a thing too. But I think it is such an emotionally intelligent way of thinking.
It's not that I'm not optimistic. It's just...
Okay, you know this illness very well?
So that's why you looked like you knew exactly what she was talking about.
Oh, no.
Wait, Freminet, don't tell Paimon that you also...
Maybe experienced that at one point?
No.
Okay.
Please don't misunderstand. I've never had it. I've just seen many cases of it at the House of the Hearth. Back when we lived under the previous director.
Okay.
They say there are many factors surrounding the development of this illness. I've heard everything from hereditary factors and one's state of mind to environmental factors and even ley line disorder.
There's a lot of like
effects.
schools of thought of what could be causing
Some
it.
even say it could be caused by contamination from god remains.
Jesus,
And
could
from
you
the
imagine?
cases I've seen, there weren't many positive outcomes. In the worst cases, the patient could even
Oh man, and he's experienced all of
pass
this.
away.
Yeah, he's experienced every bit of this.
It could get that serious? And here Paimon thought they'd just stop talking as much.
Yeah, that's just the nature of it. So if you'll find it difficult to cope with the worst case scenario, I would prefer that you back out right now.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I don't want you to help only to feel
No,
like
no,
you
no, no,
failed.
no, 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 no. Don't worry, we've seen all kinds of strange things. Yeah, we'll help out.
Paimon's seen all of those things too. No matter how hard it might get, we won't be scared.
Yeah, and I don't think looking away from the scary things in Genshin would ever help us, right? We have to look toward, again, all this stuff is difficult, and it's okay to feel like it's difficult, and it's okay to like if there's something, because I understand there's like some things in like Genshin that can get very dark. So I've even heard from people sometimes they're like, oh, I don't really like looking over this quest again or something like that, and that's 100% fair. But I just mean like in terms of like situations like this where we're gonna have to learn that there are like people that are going to be in like a situation that's not normal, right? Because like, you know, we save people from, you know, the difference between saving people from like, you know, getting attacked by hilly churls and saving somebody who has these illusions that could end up killing them that are very sad. It's very upsetting. I personally, would choose to go towards it and try and like maybe like understand it more as well, you know? And I feel like, you know, a lot of times when it comes to games that have very sad themes to them and sad stories to them, it's like 100% okay to be like, I can't deal with this, right? And I say it all the time in my videos. It's 100% okay for you to step back and be like, I cannot deal with this. But it's always just different depending on who you are, you know what I mean? Some people have different experiences than others, you know?
Really? Then in that case, let's see this real-life fantasy adventure
Yeah,
together.
and you're
to
so
the
sweet,
end.
Freminet. Thank you so much.
Yeah! But Paimon has a question. If this illness can really be as bad as you've described, then do you really think Zuria's method will be able to help? After all, we'll just be using a toy as Thelxie and some ruins as the Kingdom of Water Imps. The whole adventure will only be turned into a picture book for her son to read.
Well, I think it should be able to do something. To harbor a fantasy means that the child wants to save himself somehow. The only reason he's allowed his dream kingdom to fall is because he's lost control of his heart.
Such a beautifully sad way of putting
If
it.
we can help him regain control and escape from the darkness, we'll be able to change his world. Like helping someone who's lost their voice
Wow.
be able to speak again.
What a way of putting it.
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying now. Huh. How do you understand all of this so
It's
well,
very clear
Freminet?
Freminet is a very emotionally intelligent person.
Well, maybe because I've also had many of my own dreams in the past. I even had my own fairy tale
Okay.
world, much like that boy's. I was able to draw a lot of support from it, so I believe in the power of fantasy worlds.
Right, and I don't want to read too much into it.
So you remembered.
Right, I don't want to read...
What Penguin Town? Why doesn't Paimon remember?
So Penguin Town
The
is
fairy tale world
is
too,
what
like
he
Paimon
created.
in the
Oh my
dark.
god, Penguin Town's the place he created then. Because at first I was like, is Penguin Town an actual place where like there's lots of penguins? Like maybe there's call it Penguin Town. You know the way like I call some places like Storage Valley in games, which isn't actually the place, like, but like it's what I call as a nickname. So he must have created Penguin Town in his head. Oh wait, oh.
Hey, why did you put
He feels
that
comfortable in the helmet. He feels comfortable in the helmet.
It's
okay.
One of my personal
a really nice helmet.
quirks. Please pay it
Oh
no
my god, I
mind.
love him so much. He feels more comfortable in the helmet.
Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful place.
Sorry. I'm gonna skip back so we can actually say I'm sorry. I just got like it's just such an amazing thing. Like he goes into the helmet to feel more comfortable, and then he explains the story that is very personal to him. That's such an interesting character trait to have for
Of my
this character.
personal quirks. Please pay it no mind. Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful place with lots
It's
of
it's
penguin
amazing.
residents.
It's absolutely amazing.
They're all really good at making clockwork toys. And Pear, is the town's triumphant
Oh my God.
hero, as well as the one who quietly protects the whole place.
Pear? But didn't you make Pear
But
yourself?
he's trying to say it's a fantasy place.
Well, I often think that Pear only came to me because he realized how
Aw.
much I needed him. So it's not so much that I
Oh
made
my
Pear,
God.
as Pear chose me as his friend.
Oh my God.
Freminet, are you sure you're not losing control of
It
your
sounds like he's
fantasies
using
as
them for
well?
better though.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can still differentiate between fantasy and reality. I just believe that the fairy tale world of my dreams must also exist somewhere.
Because Freminet still does all his work. He still does all of his work for the House of the Heart. He's still more than capable. He's fantastic. But it's clear that like this has probably gotten him through a lot of darker times. Like it is like, you know, whatever, you know, putting on the helmet and describing Penguin Town. It's very clear that he has been able to do it in a very like healthy way because he's not like he's still able to understand other people's feelings and also understand our feelings and also make sure we're not being upset by things. So that's honestly like to me that means he's still in the world.
It might just be hidden, which is why it's difficult to see.
It's
Or it
beautiful.
will only
So
reveal
beautiful.
itself at very specific times.
Specific times? Like when you put on your diving helmet?
Yeah, that's the general idea of it.
Really? Paimon just said that because you put on your helmet.
So when he puts on the helmet, he's in Penguin Town. That's how he feels.
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing a whole different world from the outside. It's a very surreal feeling. Both alienating, but also as if you're being protected by something. I have a similar feeling when I put on my diving helmet. In those moments, it's possible to see some truly wondrous things, as if a fairy tale has become reality. It's almost like a sort of miracle.
Really? Like a miracle?
Honestly, like I think it's such a beautiful sentiment, right? It's and like him described it as a miracle, it's so amazing to me. Like this whole thing, because again, it's like we knew that I kind of like figured that the helmet when he puts it on is like something that is like, you know, is an escape. But for him, like it's like this thing that like he is like almost like again, I say in a healthy way because when he puts on the helmet, he's manifesting this world called Penguin Town where he can like escape from. But also he says, like as he said, it's like, you know, you're out by yourself in Penguin Town. You're not with the rest of the world, but you can also like, you know, feel very comfortable there, while also still being with the rest of the world as well. I think this is beautiful.
Well, if that's in order.
It's an order. No, it's not order. I'm just kidding.
Hey, don't you still need time to work on Thelxie's weapon? We don't want to keep you from finishing your commission.
Right. I still have to collect some tools I'll need to craft the weapon. I've got to finish everything before tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me, Paimon. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for you to try my helmet. Thanks for all of your help. I'll be off for now. Let's meet up here again in 2 days. Is your child feeling any better?
Freminet is already like how quickly I always love Freminet because of the design. The design of Freminet has always been something that's been amazing to me. But Freminet has like jumped up into like one of the most interesting characters across all of this game. It's so interesting to me.
Thank you for your concern, Freminet. His condition is fairly stable. The family doctor said we might be able to take him out for a stroll today.
Okay.
Zuria, Freminet, we're here!
Seems like everyone's arrived now.
I love Freminet so much. I love Freminet so much.
Aren't we missing someone? But Paimon has a guess where he might be. Hey, Thelxie!
Oh, Thelxie. Oh my god, your little weapon. Look at this. Straight from a child's imagination. Isn't that crazy? Like the real life manifestation of a child's fantasy world. Incredible.
Whoa! Thelxie's got himself a sword and a shield now. He's looking
Yeah, he looks
sharp.
great. He looks great.
Indeed. With his weapons in hand, Thelxie looks more formidable than ever. You've really outdone yourself, Freminet.
We helped too.
Paimon wanted the credit.
Yes,
Yeah, we did a good
you
thing.
really had a good eye for materials. Everything you found was high quality.
Thank you, Freminet.
Speaking of which, Zuria just told me that she wants to end the adventure with the coronation
Right, to get back
ceremony.
to to get back the kingdom.
So,
I wonder if this is gonna
could
work.
I also
I really
trouble
wonder.
you with finding some materials
No
for the
trouble
crown?
at all. Never any trouble.
You can just keep an eye out for them on our way to the ruins. I was planning to collect the materials myself, but then I realized you might be able to find some prettier ones
Thanks for the
than
praise.
what I could get my hands
Thank you.
on.
Seems like everything's ready to go. Shall we head out?
Please wait a moment. I was just thinking. Since Thelxie has already shown us his brand new appearance, we may already be able to
right.
draw
Okay,
a
every
new
time-
page in the picture book.
Right.
What do you think?
Ooh, Paimon's excited now.
What should we draw on the page?
Why don't we use the story we know as a reference? Just make the atmosphere a bit less grim.
So we'll take out the sad parts and replace them with happier stuff? Sounds great to Paimon.
Freminet's awesome. He's so good at this.
Alright, I'll give it a try. I'm not very adept at drawing, but I've seen a lot of art during my work. Now, as far as the actual content of the drawing, please tell me what you'd like to see.
Let me think. We can draw the weapon. The prince has picked up the Sword of Courage and the Shield of Perseverance, which proves he has crossed the mire of doubt, and now is ready to wage war against
I'd
the
watch this story.
darkness.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, I'll add the weapons.
Good artist.
Anything else?
Paimon wants to give him some friends. Thelxie's got some friends by his side now, so he's no longer fighting
Oh
alone.
my god, Paimon.
Okay, I'll also draw
it's
some
us.
companions. Anything else?
Don't forget to add some color.
Color. Ah, color, yes, that's really important. The road in front of him now will no longer be just grayscale, but bursting with color and
I like that
hope.
idea.
Who would have thought the page could have become so
gorgeous.
inspiring? How wonderful. Splendid ideas,
No,
everyone.
it's so pretty.
Great! Everyone looks super pumped up. Thelxie most of all.
Are you seeing this, my son? Are you feeling inspired by this as well?
Can you see this right now?
I'm sure he is, Zuria. And this is still just the first page.
That's right! Paimon can't wait to see the picture book when it's all finished. We should finish it as soon as possible and keep up the belief and hope in our hearts.
Yeah.
I'm starting to look forward to it as well. So let's get the show on the road and head towards the Kingdom of Water
Nice.
Imps.
So nice.
Yay! Thelxie's fantastic adventures begin now!
Part 2. Can I say before we start part 2, one of the most amazing things to me as well is that, like I said, that Freminet was like emotionally intelligent, because I do think that he is like very, very smart with his own feelings and even expressing himself at times too. And like even if like he hides in the helmet, he was able to perfectly describe why he hides in the helmet as well. And I think that's probably years of like practice. And also, like again, like I said, having a brother and sister like Lily and Lynette, they seem like they're so supportive and will give you so much confidence, especially like, you know, it's nice to have someone who is like so confident around you, so you can learn to have like, even if you're never gonna get, Freminet will never be like Lily, and it's not a bad thing. Freminet will never be like as stern as Lynette. That's not a bad thing. While they're so capable of what they're able to do in their job and stuff, because if he was born with different House of the Hearth members or even different family members, it could be a whole different situation. It could be like having a family that is so supportive. And I 100% believe in the Knave as well would see someone like Freminet and how capable they are, how smart they are, how creative they are, and then nurturing all of that. I 100% believe that they're nurturing all of that, because that's where he is today. The fact as well that he can, like, you know, do all these jobs and even notice when he can't do a job, right? I won't be able to, I'd be able to find shells, no problem. But the creativity aspect of it, I think you'll be better at it, Paimon and the Traveler. That takes, I don't think that people understand this, especially in like any workplace. If you're in any workplace, guys, you know that like the best type of people are the people that do work hard, but they also, in a workplace that requires you to work hard, right? Where like you're, you know, it's like a team effort thing. They work hard on the stuff they're doing. They get appreciated for the work, but then also as well, they understand at times when they're like, you are better at this than I am, and admitting where they're not better at some stuff. And I think it's honestly like a really good way of looking at it as well. Appreciate the heck out of the story so far. Whoa.
So these are the underwater ruins that Freminet found.
They're
They're
gorgeous.
pretty amazing, but still not exactly the kind that Paimon was imagining.
The Kingdom of the Water, yeah, we have to good to keep up with the story, yeah.
Paimon knows. It's just... Paimon thought we'd actually see a fairy tale world. Like with the water imp's colorful houses and the rainbow bridge.
But it makes sense as more of a manifestation, I suppose.
I was hoping to put up some decorations,
It's fine.
but ran out of time to do it by myself.
Yeah, it's a fantasy world, it's fine.
Whoa, someone's already switched into fantasy mode.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
Seems like the travelers already got the gist of things. You should do your best too, Paimon.
Don't underestimate Paimon. Paimon can flip the switch too. Now enter
No.
Paimon fantasy mode.
Oh my god, Paimon.
Young adventurers,
The rolling of the arms.
guardian goddess of this land. State your goals and intentions for visiting this nation.
Oh my god, sweetheart.
We are the companions of Prince Thelxie, your
Oh,
divine
Freminet didn't know what to
highness.
say, okay.
We have come to help him reclaim the glory that he has lost.
Paimon getting into it. She is getting into it.
Reclaiming your glory. Thy goddess here has golden glory,
Oh my
silver
God.
glory, and bronze glory. Which is it
In her
that the
hands.
prince has lost?
I love her so much.
Huh?
Did you break character, Paimon? Oh god.
Not at all. This is the goddess's test. From your responses, the goddess has
She's so
concluded
funny.
that you're all
She's so
brave
funny.
adventurers without the taint of greed in your hearts. As such, you are worthy of everyone's
She's like, no, you're accepted.
respect.
You're accepted.
So please accept the goddess's reward. The goddess will now bestow all 3 types of glory upon you.
How Paimon is just like one of the funniest characters in the history of any media or art form ever.
And
All the
as for
time.
this prince, the goddess will also bestow upon you the rainbow glory.
Thelxie's just like, yeah, thanks.
So your future will always be filled with light.
Paimon's getting into it. She's getting into a story at the very least. You know?
My gratitude to your divine highness for such generous blessings. Power is
Zuria
now
is getting into it, of
surging through
course.
every part of my body.
She probably feels like she has to, of course, yeah.
Me too.
Oh, Freminet.
Is this the divine inspiration of
Yes.
legend?
All thanks to the power of the goddess Paimon.
Ahem.
She liked that a little too much, didn't she?
Adventurers, forge bravely
Actually, you know what?
ahead and defeat the monsters that have taken over the kingdom. You will be
Look
sure
at this
to
image.
find that which you seek.
No, Paimon deserves to get into this, right? She is the goddess. She is the goddess of Paimons.
It's finally over. So have we defeated the evil monsters and reclaimed the kingdom of water imps?
Yes, it should now be time for us to attend Thelxie's coronation ceremony. The only thing is, I didn't expect this to go so smoothly. I thought it would have taken longer for us to reach the heart of the ruins. It was my mistake. I should have told Freminet earlier that we would also need a crown.
It's all because the traveler and goddess Paimon were too strong. We just eradicated all the
Goddess.
monsters in one go.
Goddess
It's
Paimon.
okay, Zuria. We can come back again once I've made the crown.
Then I must thank all of you again for taking the time, and you too, Thelxie, my child.
Thelxie's turning out to be a real expert at fighting.
Yep, doing very
I don't
good.
think there's anything that will be able to stop him. He's like a true prince now.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
Yes, I agree as well.
Let's head back to camp for now. I asked the traveler to search for some materials on the way because I want to make the crown as soon as possible.
We
Very
can
sweet.
add an update to Thelxie's
I can't wait to see this crown.
fantastic adventures as well. Now that we've reclaimed the kingdom of water imps, it's time for us to draw some new scenes in the picture book.
Obviously, like, you know, this is one of the not downsides, but with events like we don't have the combat situations, of course, that's going to happen all the time. It's the only,
Zuria
you know,
and
we're not
Why
fighting.
don't we draw the new pages first? Paimon really wants to update the picture
There's like
book.
30 minutes left in this, though, and we've already defeated the...
Hey,
Get the
you
kingdom?
didn't have to say it out loud.
What did they say? Sorry, I missed it, Jared, because I was just thinking out loud.
Freminet, why don't we draw the new
You just want to
pages
see someone
first?
draw Goddess Paimon. She
I'd
deserves
really
it.
like
She
to
deserves it.
update the picture
Draw
book.
Goddess Paimon.
Hey, you didn't have to say it out loud.
No problem. I'm happy to oblige. Then in that case, the story today should go something like this.
And it's gonna be a new drawing every time you're adding.
Overcoming many
so
obstacles,
pretty.
Prince
Oh
Thelxie
my God,
and his
look at it.
brave companions finally arrived at the entrance to the kingdom of water imps. At this time, the little fairy in the group, Paimon, revealed her true goddess form to her
Oh my God, the little
companions.
fairy in the group.
Woohoo! The goddess has arrived! She praised the companions for their purity, and to reward them, she bestowed upon them many blessings, and even prayed that
Yep.
the prince would
Yep,
be able
so
to
good.
fulfill his goal.
She got really into this part as well.
Bathed under the goddess's glory, the prince and his companions charged into the bastion of evil, chased away the monsters, and rescued the pretty water imps from their imprisonment.
Awesome.
The prince finally managed to reclaim his kingdom. But as for the crown,
Oh no, the crown isn't ready yet!
No. The crown was within the prince's reach, but the monsters took it
Oh,
with
so
them
there's
as
more
they
to the
fled.
story.
They haven't given up and are sure to return, but the prince is certain to reclaim the crown the next time they fight.
And I've wondered if they're using the idea. Sorry for interrupting you, Freminet. They're using the idea that like the crown was stolen as a way that we haven't built the crown yet. So like we'll get to that, right?
The brilliant rainbow shall descend onto the kingdom.
It's such a beautiful
once
drawing.
more.
Yes, Freminet.
Oh, and Paimon can almost see it all happening now! Whoa, the pages are beautiful! Zuria is really talented at drawing.
More, yeah, amazing drawings,
thank
amazing
you,
artwork.
everyone. We've also completed the second page of the picture book now. Thelxie's journey is one step closer to its end and the promised coronation.
Are they doing it in 3
My
acts
child.
then?
You'll also be able to brighten up when that time comes, right?
This is such an amazing
Little
quest.
Zuria.
It's so sweet.
Who knows? Perhaps the doctor will already have some good news for you when you get back home
Maybe?
today.
Maybe?
I sure hope so, Your Divine Highness.
Your Divine Highness.
Oh, Freminet, about the time you'll need for the crown.
Please don't worry. One day should be more than enough.
Please don't worry. Again, he's always worried about how other
Then
people's
I
feelings
must
as well.
Thank you for your hard work. All right, let's rendezvous here in another 2 days' time for our final adventure.
Wow.
Okay?
Was that actually
See you
a
in
real
2
2 days?
my lovely friends.
Was it actually a real 2 days? I wonder. And she's off singing as well. And a really interesting character as well. Really interesting stuff. And she's just walking off into the fields, you know? The dream, you know?
Right, it's about time we start heading off too. You've still got some work to do, right, Freminet?
Music is so
Yeah.
sweet too, isn't it?
I'll need to go to the city shortly to get some parts for the base of the crown. I want to try out a few different designs and choose the one that looks the best.
Yeah, Freminet is really dedicated, works hard. I think they've established this idea that Freminet is like an unbelievably hard worker.
Paimon knew that you didn't often take commissions from others, but Paimon had no idea you'd be so dedicated once you're on the
And
job.
I think it's fair. Again, like I'm sure we'll learn why he doesn't take a lot of commissions. But I think it's so fair to like pick and choose because again, like it's a different situation. We're actually Adventurers Guild people, so we're obviously like trying to get as much adventuring in as we can. It helps us out, like grow and all the stuff on our journey. Like being selective with your stuff, like there's not wrong with that either.
Well,
Here we go.
about that,
Here we go.
it might be because...
Yeah.
Because what?
It's because...
Oh my God, the red cheeks. The red cheeks.
What's the matter? And what's with that look on your face?
You look so
You're
sweet.
turning red, and it looks like you're about to run away and put your helmet
If he wants to put on the helmet, it's okay as well. But he's so sweet.
Am I turning red?
Yeah, don't tease him. Don't tease him. He's good. He's good. He's good.
All right. We won't bother you anymore for today, Freminet. Let's see each other in 2 days' time.
That's such a Paimon thing as well, by the way, to be like, we won't bother you today. See you in 2 days. Right? I love Paimon like that, where she's like, because again, Paimon is a tease. We talked about before that like Paimon will like, you know, and she's not be, you know, she's not trying to be mean to Freminet. Like obviously we said don't tease him because like obviously like he's getting embarrassed and we don't want him to get embarrassed. But I think in these situations, like, you know, it's such a Paimon thing. Like Paimon will tease and tease until like, you know. And that's why it's good that we said don't tease, because I think Paimon, like, sometimes, we've seen it in the stories before, it's shown, like, factually so in some of these stories, Paimon will say something, and she's like, oh, wait, I didn't mean to say that, oh my god, I'm so sorry, right? Because, again, Paimon probably doesn't, like, she's very outgoing, very forward. There's this kind of, like, really funny, like, friendship teasing moment that's going on here, but then I thought to myself as well when I was like, hey, stop teasing, then I was like, wait a second, his brother and sister is, like, Lynette and Linny, he probably gets teased, like, every day of his life. Obviously they love him, but like, you know what I mean, like that brother-sister relationship, especially with Linny, who's such like a fantastic performer, and obviously that always comes from a place of love, because you know your siblings and stuff like that. I say this much later in the video as well, but like I wanted to like reiterate it now, because I actually think it's actually like a really funny thing to think about, because you couldn't really have Linny as a brother and not get teased. I don't think, you know what I mean, he's gonna be teasing you every single day because he's just good at it. He's good at that stuff.
Okay.
I think it's more than fine.
Thank you. See you in 2 days.
And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll be teased in 2 days. But because the thing is, like, as well, like for me, he's pouring his heart out to us, like in a way that Freminet does. He's already shown us some very like personal feelings as well. That again, something we didn't expect to see from Freminet. And I'm really glad that he is like, you know, willing to open up to us in some way, shape, or form. It's just that obviously, like, you know, like I said, we want to wait for him to be as comfortable as possible. That's the situation we want him to be for anybody. I adore that character so much.
I hope that everyone who's found themselves in a dark place would be able to see something beautiful.
Oh
and
my
experience
god.
a miracle for themselves.
When he left, he put on the helmet and said what he was going to say.
Hey, Freminet! Thelxie! We're here!
He is... How, like, within 47 minutes of a story, it's been 47 minutes, he has jumped into, like, one of my favorite stories, personalities, everything. Because already, like, I adored him as a character design, and I thought he's so super sweet. As a story, as, like, his personality, everything. It's just, like, one of my favorite things in this game. And that's why it's right to say don't, because again, it's clearly like, and I'll say that, it's right to say don't tease him, Paimon, because in this situation, it's very clear that, like, you know, he didn't want to be teased, and like, you know, even though he adores Paimon as well, he likes Paimon also.
Hello, Paimon. Hello, traveler.
Is the crown ready?
Yes, we're just waiting for Zuria now. She hasn't arrived yet.
Then let's wait for her a little while. Or actually, maybe we can go find her. It's not too far from here anyway. Didn't she say she just lives on the hill over there?
It's a really nice house up there.
Traveler, Paimon.
Hello?
Oh, and speaking of...
It's the...
Found you two
Yeah, the original
at long
commission.
last. I'm so glad that you both are all right.
Huh?
I love the voice acting on this character.
You're here, Miss Delaroche. And what could have happened to us?
What could have happened? That water imp Thelxie, of course. After I gave you that commission the other day, I began to get worried and went asking about the boy that went missing.
Oh, that? We've got it all figured out now. The boy you heard about was just Freminet. Even the missing fish was his fault. Don't worry, we'll help you get the fish
He's just
back
doing his
as soon as
job.
we're done
He's just
with
doing
this
his job.
Oh, sorry about that. I've been diving in the area
No,
recently.
you're just diving. Who cares? You're so,
Freminet?
again, like, and again, that's why he's so sweet. He's always caring about
I
other
think-
people's feelings.
No, that's not what happened at all. I've heard a completely different account.
Wait, so wasn't Freminet?
What I was told is that about a month ago, a child tied a bunch of heavy seashells onto his body and
What?
walked into this open stretch of water. He never came back.
What?
What could that be if not that water imp's work?
Are you sure?
100% sure. I've confirmed the account with several veteran fishermen I know. The child was only 8 years old.
Oh my god.
His name was Lescaut. Lescaut Destray.
Wait,
Oh no.
let's go to
Oh
Stray.
no.
Yeah, that's the name. They say the family took on the name after moving to the city from a place called Stray. Anyway, his mother is a pretty famous art dealer, while his father passed away from an accident many years ago. Well, naturally, his mother was devastated by the incident and fell terribly ill. It's said that she left the court of Fontaine.
No.
And no one knows where she's gone.
No.
It can't be.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go Destre? Zuria Destre?
No. Wait, is she in the fantasy world?
It must be some sort
No
of a
way.
coincidence.
No way.
I'm sorry, miss. We've got to go check on something right now.
Oh, I see. Well, you go on ahead. I just
This
came
is
to make sure that
bad.
you're both all right. I'll head back then. Please remember to take care.
Oh my god, this is way darker than I thought it would be.
Excuse us. Is anyone here? Is this Madame Destre's
Her son is gone.
Who are you? I have a patient here who needs quiet
Wait.
bed rest. Please leave us be unless you have anything urgent to report.
Who's the patient? No.
This is the residence of Zuria Destri, and I am Jala Khan, her family
What?
doctor. What did you mean by your question just now?
No.
Who else could be my patient?
Your patient should be Zuria's son, right?
Oh
She
no,
told
he's
us herself
gone.
that
He's
her son had
gone.
contracted loneliness syndrome.
No.
No, you're right. Young Master Lescaut did have that illness once upon a time, but he's... Well, the young master's no longer with us.
Jesus.
Now, the Madame has come down with the same illness. Are you her friends, by any chance?
He informed the doctor all this happened the past few days. You break. Oh my god.
So, when she had requested time to go out over the past few days, it was so she could spend them with you.
That is.
So, if I'm understanding this
sick.
right, the one who's suffering from uncontrollable delusions is the Madame herself? She believes her son is
That
still
is
alive?
so sad.
That is correct. When the young master disappeared, she was organizing an art exhibit that she had specifically prepared for him. But since she had to leave the house, she was unable to see her son one last time. That
no
might have been the
way.
trigger for her regret. Or perhaps the family's fall into loneliness and
Stop.
grief was inevitable as soon as the old master passed away. First the son, and then the mother.
I was so ready for this to be a really cool fantasy story. I didn't expect to have a twist like this.
She really looked like she had a handle on everything. Her smile was so lovely, and she even told us to stay optimistic.
She's in that world.
But
She's in that
You're
delusion.
saying she...
Those actions are proof that she can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality.
Then, all the other things that she told us about her son, were those fake too?
No, those were all real. Although, they were all things that happened before the
Dear
young
Lord,
master
she's
left
still
us
living
for
in that
good.
time period then.
Madame's time has just never moved forward since his passing.
It's just, it's the
I
clock has
see.
stopped for her.
So after her son left, she created a fantasy world where her son was still with her. She was looking for a way to cure his illness when she ran into us.
How is she now?
She
That is
has
so,
been in a
no,
good-
that's so difficult to even think about. Because again, like I said, I thought this was just going to be a fantasy story. I was legit just like, oh, this is a fantasy story about the son. And then in the end, we're going to see the son was like, you know, a little bit better or something like that. I was fully expecting to get some news that like the son was like a tiny bit better. And we're going to see like a cutscene at the end of like the son being better. And like, you know what I mean?
Mood the past few days, even
Holy
hummed
hell.
a song when she returned from her stroll. She even began discussing with me the idea of using deliberate guidance to ease the illness. It was all going well, until last night.
Oh, what happened?
She spent a whole night staring at the shell the young master left behind, and the words that he had inscribed onto it. Then she broke down once more. I prescribed some sedatives, and she's currently resting.
But then what should we do? How can we help her? There has to be something
I
we
wonder
can
what we
do.
can do in this
Don't
situation.
panic, Paimon. Even though this is a devastating
Look how
piece of
smart he
news,
is.
we must all calm down first.
He's so emotionally present and intelligent. He's so...
What should we do? I need to think. I need to remember the old house of the hearth and the children who lived in it. Those patients and what their doctors said back then. What if...
Well, he's probably got some. Do you see how hardworking he is for this situation as well? Like, he's working overtime for this situation. Like, of course, because again, like he said, he wants everyone to be able to experience the happiness of the world that he has seen, that beautiful fantasy world that he has with Penguin World, but in a healthy way, right? Those miracles.
Dr. Jalacan, have you seen a picture book? The Madame should have brought it back with her.
Are you thinking about trying the guidance therapy she talked to me about before? It's worth a shot. I'll go get the book.
This whole time, she was literally just in a state of, like, her own fantasy world.
Yes, this is it.
We'll need to finish the adventure in picture book.
That's right. If what Dr. Jalacan said was true, the past few days have been very helpful to Zuria. So we should complete this journey.
This is gonna be a shot in the heart, isn't it? This is gonna be so heartbreaking.
We need to show her that her child has found a happy ending in the world of her
Oh.
dreams.
But
Freminet, you're too sweet.
wouldn't that just make it harder for her to accept reality?
One must first face reality before accepting it. The Madame has been crushed by her feelings of grief and can no longer bring herself to face reality. Our first priority would be to get her out of this state.
Right. Before today, I had thought she wanted to use Thelxie's fantastic adventures to save her son. But now, I think she might need it to save herself.
It's such a different story now, isn't it? Like, it's the same, like, story book, but
And
such a different
if we
story.
could complete it, we should be able to give her some feeling of inspiration and
I hope.
closure. Maybe those feelings would be enough to give her some courage to face reality again.
We'll have to give it a try.
There's no time to waste. Let's set off right away.
So freaking heartbreaking,
Here
man.
again.
Like, again, we can talk about it like all the aspects at the end of this as well, but like something I just want to say about, like, you know, the way that this has shifted so quickly is that it is one of those things that, like, I think many times, like in Genshin, you have a story that starts off sad and gets even sadder. You have a dark ending, you have a dark twist. This time, I genuinely thought that, like, if I didn't know if there was going to be a twist, but like my whole thing was I thought this was just like a journey for Freminet to show how, like, you know, to show how he believes that everyone should experience, you know, like towards the last part. Originally, I thought it was starting off as just like a story for Freminet, to get to know Freminet better. And then it was clearly like, you know, it still is that. It still is that 100%. That's the outline of this. That's like the bridge between everything almost, is to get to know Freminet better. But I think it also is like now shifted towards a sad but hopeful story of helping a little boy come out of his fantasies, and it's turned into a much darker, hopeful story. There still is hope there, but the hope is a lot sadder and a lot more dark, because there's no chance of getting that boy back because he's gone.
No part
It's
of
so
Thelxie's
heartbreaking.
Journey, but the most important person is missing.
And look, they made this little thing as well.
Everyone, please don't be so down and gloomy. Remember what she told us? If we were to feel troubled, the patient would become anxious as well.
Right.
You're right. Paimon needs to smile. If we have
And you
to
have a
give
sweet smile,
something to
Paimon.
Zuria, it should be our smiles. We have to keep smiling as we finish this adventure.
It's a great way of looking at it. Fantastic way of looking at it.
To recover, right, everyone?
Yeah, I'm sure she will.
I'm sorry. I have to go. I made a promise to my friends, and I'm already very late.
It's such a different context now,
Madame,
right?
You're still...
Don't try to stop me. Today's the most important day for treating Thelxie. We'll
And
use the
calling
guidance
him
method.
Thelxie.
Didn't you also say that you'd think it'd work?
I'm not trying to stop you, Madame. It's just... Could you tell me the name of your
Just
child?
calling him
Dr.
Thelxie.
Jalacan, how can you forget the name of your own patient?
Oh,
His name is Thelxie. He's the prince of the kingdom of
look how
water
everything has
Imps.
shifted so
We
quickly.
will go today to reclaim his crown and attend his coronation ceremony.
I see. Madame,
And he's
please
going along,
rest
we just, like,
assured,
look-
Everything is still on schedule. Your friends have already departed to find... Wait, look. They've already
And
returned.
have we gotten a crown as well?
Zuria, we've retrieved the crown.
how quickly the context of her saying this
Paimon,
is shifted from
everyone.
what is so sweet she's going along with the story of her son to does she even remember the name of her son? Does she even remember the name of her son at this stage?
Have you really?
How quickly it
Yes,
shifted.
but the coronation ceremony still hasn't taken place because
It's
we felt like you
heartbreaking.
should be the one to preside over it.
Wonderful. How wonderful. Thelxie, my child, are you hearing this? Everything you lost will now come back to you, and soon, very soon,
Yeah.
you will never be lonely again.
It's gone from her going along with the fantasy story to feel like she's like trapped in it herself.
And the last page of the picture book. It's still waiting for you to illustrate in color.
Right, the picture book. But I don't know what I should put on the last page.
Don't worry, Thelxie and his friends all know what should go on it. Get ready, Zuria. We'll describe everything for you.
It's such a different energy.
Okay.
At last, Thelxie
Even seeing
and his
this feels
friends were able
different.
to drive off the final invading monsters and achieve a dashing victory. Their success was complete, and the recovered crown resplendent.
The water imps, finally returning to their homes, showered the prince with love and applause as he greeted them. They once again offered their precious shells to the prince and reconstructed the rainbow bridge of old. As he watched the scene unfold, the prince could not help but be touched by its
I'm
beauty.
Freminet reading this out too.
Moved by everyone's happiness, the prince stepped
Oh.
onto the rainbow bridge and took a good look
It's
at
such a beautiful
all
drawing,
the
but just the
friends who had
context, it's so
gone on the
sad.
journey with him. There stood the traveler, goddess Paimon, Freminet, and
Dear.
huh? Where's the last person?
No.
The prince looked frantically around, but could not find the person he wanted to see most. At that moment, the person
Jesus, man.
suddenly appeared on the other side of the
Holy
bridge.
hell.
She walked towards him with a smile and slowly lifted her veil.
The prince could not hold back his tears. He recognized then that the mysterious person that had been by his side the whole time
Heartbreaking.
was none other than his mother.
This is so heartbreaking.
Zuria walked across the bridge and placed the crown above the prince's head. She smiled
Oh.
down upon him as she said, "My prince,
Oh,
my king, you shall never, ever need to feel lonely
I
again."
cannot.
That's the end of the story, Zuria.
You never have to feel lonely again.
Thank you. Thank you
Oh
all.
my god, man. What the hell?
I am so sorry, my child. Maman should have spent more time with you.
Oh no, don't do this either.
Did you hear the story? You'll never have to feel lonely again.
Please don't do this again. The crown is beautiful, by the way. Will she be able to snap out of this though? Is the sad thing about this.
Maman loves you too.
We thought she was like so put together and so...
What's happening? Is Zuria talking to Thelxie?
What's Thelxie saying?
Quick, put on my diving helmet. There's a
We can put on the
transcription
helmet?
module in it that's compatible with Thelxie's output signals. You should be able to use it to understand.
That's incredible.
What Thelxie's
That is
saying.
incredible. Oh, we're getting to see Freminet's perspective? We still can't hear her, right? No. Please, no.
Maman loves you too.
This is devastating. This is one...
But I love you
Stop.
more,
Stop.
Momo.
Stop. Stop. You don't get to
What?
do this.
Did you see something?
You don't get to do this.
Maman, I'm getting a little sleepy.
What?
If it's time for bed, can you hum a lullaby to me
I
again?
am devastated.
Of course, my dearest child. As long as you want to hear it, Mama will always hum for you.
Stop. That's the song. The song she's been singing this whole time is the song that she sang to him when he would sleep, isn't it? Look at this little boy.
Thank you, Maman.
He's gone as well.
Your
What
lullaby
the
has
hell?
always been my favorite. Now that I've heard it, I can return to my dream and to the kingdom of water imps in peace.
I don't know how she'd be able to handle this.
My poor darling. Please don't forget. I will always love you. My love is greater than the entire distance
Oh,
between
God.
here and the kingdom of water imps.
I just want one mission. One.
Won't forget, Maman. And so
I'm
is
not
my
in
love
tears.
for you. Greater than the entire distance between here and the kingdom of water imps. Good night, Maman.
That's the saddest thing I've seen in a while. No. 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 How dare you? Like, honestly, like, this whole thing has been so heartbreaking. Like, I knew there was probably going to be some sad aspects to this. I really did think there was going to be some sad aspects to this. Of course there would be. It's a story about a child, like, you know, who's in a fantasy world where their mother's trying to connect with them. I did not think it was going to end up where it was. Where the child is dead. And the mother hasn't moved on yet. It's so freaking heartbreaking.
Traveler, Paimon, you're here.
Freminet, why did you call us in such a hurry? Did you hear something from Zuria? Oh, if it's not good news, Paimon doesn't want to hear it.
Same. Honestly, Paimon, I need to take a second. If it's not good news, I don't want to hear it either. Well, I do want to hear it because it's the story, but like, you know what I mean. There's like only 3 minutes left. What's the
Don't worry,
resolution of
It's
this?
definitely great news. The Madame came here for a visit just now with her doctor. Color has returned to her cheeks, and she sounded full of energy as well.
At least she'll get to like
She
move on.
said she'd like to return to the court
Well,
to
not move on, but,
continue
you know-
hosting the art exhibit. But this time, she'll work with her doctor to exhibit some picture books related to the illness.
Oh wow.
Of course, Thelxie's fantastic adventures and the guidance therapy will be included in the exhibit as well. She'd like to use her experience to help others.
That's wonderful.
It's so much better than I thought it would be.
What's the bad news after all?
The
Here, please take this
I
picture
don't
book with
I don't
you.
want to look at. Okay, I'll
The
keep it,
Madame
but like I don't want
wanted
to
you
look at it.
have it. If at some point in the future you were to run into someone with similar troubles, she hopes the book would be of use to
You're
you.
a sweetheart, Freminet, by the way.
But this is her son's story, right? Is it really okay to give the book to us?
Don't worry, it's just a copy.
Okay.
She still has the original. It's extremely
I
important
it
to
doesn't
her.
like it's just the whole context of
Then
everything.
there's
It's so
no
sad.
problem. It feels good knowing we've contributed to something important. Paimon definitely didn't expect the fantasy adventure to be so useful. Paimon was a little worried about how everything would turn out. After all, fantasy is just fantasy.
Yeah, but
Paimon,
it can also be a miracle.
do you know what the Madame said? She said that at the moment when she placed the crown on Thelxie's head, she felt like she really saw
Oh,
something
look at his
beautiful.
face.
Her child had returned, and he told her that he loved her. She also said that was when she was finally able to bid farewell to her son. She felt like at that moment, she was healed by some mystical power, and she was filled with courage
the power of
from head to
fantasies.
toe.
Oh, really? But could that just be another part of her fantasy?
Perhaps. But if fantasy is just fantasy, and the fantasy world is not
Yeah.
real, then how could it still grant us these powers that we can continue to use in the real world?
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Oh, I have so much things to say about
A
this.
descent of the fairy tale world into the real world. At that time, the wondrous
my
fairy tale
God.
temporarily became reality and influenced real things in our world.
I
That has to be what happened.
Freminet, I believe this too. I believe
You
this too.
saw it too. Didn't
Yes,
you?
we saw it. I saw the little boy.
that can't be what happened, right?
Paimon.
There's just no way. Wouldn't it be like a miracle if that really
It is a miracle, but
happened?
in the best way possible.
Yes. I suppose that would be a miracle.
I love this character
I
so
hope
much.
that
Oh, the
everyone
rainbow.
who's found themselves in a dark place would be able to see something beautiful and experience a
Yeah,
miracle.
that's what he wanted to say
for
before, but couldn't
themselves.
say it to us. Just Nouvelette standing there as well. So that's the end of that whole quest. But yeah, I didn't expect to be that devastated by the end of it, because again, I thought that we were gonna get like a really unbelievably happy ending, because can I be honest with you, I thought the sad ending was gonna come from Freminet. I thought like maybe something was gonna deeper happen from Freminet. My original thought was, like I said, it was gonna be something just to get to know Freminet, and then it still is that. But then I thought it was gonna be like a twist ending where there was gonna be a happy ending, but like the sadder parts may have come from Freminet's feelings. And then I looked at it clearly in the last 20 minutes, that twist is was like a lorry, was like a truck hitting us. Did you guys feel that way playing this as well? If you did play this, I went from feeling like happy as a freaking cloud to like it felt like something was like hitting us, and it was like so sudden. Like that's the only way I can describe it. It was like right there, like out of freaking nowhere. And it was like, and again, I feel like that is like the thing they're going here. The idea of snapping back into reality, the idea of reality versus like real life. The way we were going on with this fantasy when really the whole thing was a fantasy. Like even it was a fantasy in a fantasy. Such a sad story. But what we got to learn in this is not only just about the fantasy world again, because we'll talk about it in a second, but also about Freminet as a character. We'll learn more. Not only we knew he was hardworking, we knew he was a sweet character, we knew he was amazing. But we also got to learn how emotionally present and intelligent he is, how he's able to find out when other people are feeling upset. But also he is, again, emotionally present is probably not the best way of putting it, because at times he can be emotionally present because he's really good at expressing like himself sometimes, but other times he's not, right? And that's okay. But like I feel like he is still, when he has the helmet on, he's able to he's very emotionally present. It was great learning more about Freminet as a character, and we absolutely adore him. I could also say as well that the fantasy world coming into the real world thing is so important, because we just had the story of the how do I say it? the Anne of the Narcissus Cruise. We had the other times when we've gone into the Ordo through the storybook. We've had fantasies become reality. We've had like the idea of fairy tales influencing real life and stories influencing real life, how they can change life. We had it at the start of this whole game. The first quest we do, the Abyss Order is trying to get hold of a children's book. There's no denying that there is something here, and that fairy tales and stories can influence this world on a very real level. And it seems like they've had, in many ways, influenced the world on real levels. And it's terrifying, but I'm so glad that we got to witness this quest, because it was such an amazing ending. I was in tears of this character we just met. Freminet superb. As I said, you can really see how he is as a character and how sweet he is as a character. There was a bit of teasing going on, but I feel like even in that sense, he understood what that was as well. Because again, the thing is, when it comes to Freminet, I can say don't tease, but I think he understands. He has two. If he doesn't understand what teasing is, and I'll probably add this in later in the other part, because I think it's actually an important point. He doesn't understand what teasing is with Linny and Lynette as his brother and sister. I don't think he ever will understand what teasing is. Just a very sweet but sad but dark quest. Getting to learn more about the story and learn about the world as well, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys so much for supporting the series and for watching this. This is a really, really fun time for me, and we're gonna be doing more events. I posted on my Ko-Fi. I use it as a blog place. The upcoming events we're gonna be doing, and I'll probably put that in the description below if you want to see that there, guys. It's all the stuff we're gonna be doing in terms of story quests, world quests, events. All of them are there before we get to Natlan. It's everything that's gonna happen before we get to Natlan, and it could change. If it comes out that the Lantern Night next year requires me to do one of the story quests is at the bottom of the list, and I haven't finished those story quests yet, I will move that story quest up to the top, up higher, so we can do that, so we can do Lantern Night, right? Does that make sense? It will change. The order is the order, but it will change if, let's say, if it requires me to do Sigewin's story quest and Emily's story quest first. We will change that to bring them up to the top. And that's the way I'll do it. Why we like to do them in order all the time? I do want to I did want to do the Lantern Rite next year, because it will be my first Lantern Rite, and we don't want to wait a whole year after that. The only way we wouldn't do that is if like it messes up the whole order of the game. But you get what I'm saying. We do release order always, unless there's some other circumstance. That's the way we always go about it. Thank you so much to Tyfire2, Jamie Bull, Jonathan Banana, The Ghost of Inazuma, Flicious Felix, Ewald, Radish, Anusta, Malcolm Day, Death Trap, Lynx Markey, Assassin, Alpaca Juice, Eopsy, and Xana whatever. And I can also say as well, thank you to Death Trap. If you guys don't know, and not only that, but I want to say like my patrons have been incredible with all this stuff. The reason why I've been able to say very, very spoiler free for this game, I'll say this no problem, is that my patrons have, and again, I'll probably put this at the start as well. My patrons have made it so that they tell me what world quests are the big ones. They tell me, you know, where I can start them, where to go during those world quests, what I can do with those world quests. Like, you know, before I even do them, like they're letting me know, like, this is what you should do, this is what you can do, this is what you can do. They never push you with it. Death Trap has made a full spreadsheet as well, which is absolutely incredible. Of all the events, I don't have to look up a singular event, and that's how I'm saying so spoiler free. Death Trap has made a full list of all the events that I can do. So really, like, all the stuff that you see here, when you see stuff that's done in order, if you see a world quest on this channel, just being honest with you guys, like, it is like a patron who is like said, like, oh, I asked a question like in the chats, like, hey, should I do this now? Should I do whatever, you know? And they're like, oh yeah, that's a good one to do. You don't do that yet. Do that one before this. Do that one before this. They're not pushy about it. They're just like very good at giving advice with that stuff. So I always appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for watching this, and thank you to Death Trap for making that spreadsheet, for making this possible. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.